You are listening to Wilhelm, a film-centric podcast for film lovers of all kinds. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to Wilhelm. I am your host, Ben Beck, and in this episode, we are playing around and messing with the space-time continuum. That's because this week we are revealing our top 5 favorite films that use time travel. And to do that, as always, I need to bring in a guest. He's one of the co-hosts of the podcast, The Infinite Taylorverse, and a big pop culture junkie, just like myself. Welcome to Wilhelm, Billie Taylor.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is going to be fun.
This is going to be really fun because I know you and I are fans of time travel. You just recently covered time travel on your own podcast.
Yes.
You branched out further than movies.
Right. Yeah, we did a few things about movies, TV, books, comic books, video games, all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah. But we're not going to mention your podcast at all because this is about me.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
No, I'm just kidding. We will absolutely plug your show at the end because you've been nice enough to welcome me on as a co-host at one point, and I had a blast. I listened to your podcast. I love what you and Taylor do together. So we're absolutely going to show some love to your show at the end of this.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
But we're going to talk time travel in this episode. Before we do that, though, I mention it every episode. I always give my guests the option to talk about what they want to talk about. Time travel is one of the ones that you chose. What is it about time travel that draws you to it?
I don't know. I think just as a young kid, not to get too deep, I was drawn to the idea of time travel. Home was kind of tough at times in my environment, and I won't mention, a particular movie that was one of my favorites.
Mine too. Well, we both know what it is.
And just something about the idea of going back and changing things. And even though we nerds know that it can often and most often be pretty detrimental, but
yes,
that as a little kid, that idea was just so cool to me. And I stuck with that. And I've always loved science fiction and sciencey things. I'm a high school science teacher. I love science. So things that even unrealistic things, but that kind of involve science. I've always loved that kind of stuff. And so I think all those things are part of the reasons why I love time travel stories.
Yeah. I mean, in a sense too, I mean, and this is kind of diving into the science of it all too. I mean, in the very loosest of ways, time travel kind of does exist. In particular, one example, when you're looking up at the night sky and you're seeing stars, there are quite a few of those stars that might not exist any longer.
Exactly.
So you're seeing light that is still traveling, even though that star might not exist. So yep. in a loose sense, that in itself is time travel. Even every day when we blink, I mean, the things that we see, it's not instantaneous. I mean, it's so minuscule of a time frame, but
right.
It's like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction, and I can keep going, of a second for the image from what we're looking at to make it to our brain.
Yep.
Which in a sense is kind of time travel as well, in that moment has already passed. Doesn't seem like it, but it kind of already has.
Yep.
As a science teacher, do you think time travel, in the sense that pop culture says it, will ever be possible?
So I might reserve my answer for one of my movie choices.
Okay. Because
it's, in my opinion, the most possible version of time travel. And it deals with a little bit of science. So I will answer that question soon.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. That being said, we're going to have plenty to talk about. So I think we should just dive right in.
Sounds
and
good.
and start talking about our top 5. Before we do that, as always, just to fill you in on a couple things, neither Billy or myself, we have not revealed our choices or discussed our choices to each other beforehand, as not to influence each other. So I don't know his top 5. He doesn't know mine. Also, a fair warning, if you haven't seen one or a few of the movies we're going to be bringing up, there is always a possibility of spoilers. So just be forewarned about that ahead of time. That being said, 5-1, let's knock them out. Number 5, where do you stand in your top 5 favorite time travel films?
Okay. And well, first of all, we kind of talked about this a little bit. This was very hard for me.
Very difficult. And I do want to preface this too. Friends of mine who listen to this podcast are automatically going to assume what movie is number 1 for me.
Yep.
Listeners might not know that about me. I will say right now, I don't know if it's in your top 5 or not.
Okay.
But I did let you know that as far as I'm concerned, I am not including Back to the Future.
Okay.
Only because I plan to do an episode of Wilhelm on the trilogy itself.
Yep.
And I wanted to make sure I showed some love to some other movies outside of Back to the Future. So yes, my friends are probably shocked. Back to the Future is not in my top 5. So
got it.
That said, you're right. This was incredibly difficult, but I'm still really curious where you went.
Hey, so towards the end of this, when we get to the honorable mentions, there's going to be so many, but
me too.
And I've listened to this, and I don't think every time the people necessarily rank their movies, but I kind of did rank mine. Like 5 will definitely be my 5th on the list.
Oh, that's what I did too. That's what I do every episode. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So for me, number 5, I picked the 2014 Ethan Hawke movie Predestination.
I've seen that movie come up on multiple lists. It's one I'm going to have to add to the Wilhelm must-watch list because I've never seen it.
Yeah, so knowing how much I like time travel, a few years back when it was in the Netflix queue, I saw it. I never heard of it before, and I saw it. At this point, it was probably 2017 or 18 when I saw it the first time. And I saw it on Netflix, and my wife and I just kind of read the description. I'm like, oh, time travel. And we turned it on, and it is one of the most mind-bending, intriguing movies I've ever seen. Not like, but definitely time travel movie that I've ever seen.
Okay.
Now I feel a little bad spoiling it because it's worth a watch.
No, it's totally fine. I'm going to watch it either way. It's already going to get added to the playlist.
Basically, it has one of the best twists of an ending in any movie I've ever seen. It's not the best movie I've ever seen, and I can put it up against a ton of movies, and usually those other movies are probably going to win. But for a time travel story, it's done very well. And I think that's how well they did the ending, because I did not see it coming. And I'm really bad at figuring out what's going to happen. And it kind of takes a little bit away from the impact of the movie. But this one, I did not see it coming. Do you want me to kind of talk about it a little bit?
You can be vague about it. If it's really that big of a twist of an ending, yeah, maybe not spoil it.
Okay. It's one of those things where you have this guy from a certain time period, and he's kind of like, we're not talking about TV, but if anyone's watched the Loki series recently, they have the TVA who kind of travels through time correcting things. This guy's part of a company kind of like that. And he's from way in the future, and he goes back and tries to correct things. And he keeps going to these events being affected by this certain person, and you're not supposed to fall in love, and love happens and offspring happen, and I don't want to say more because I think you should watch it, but it has a very good ending, and it's one of those, it's very paradoxical, as in, okay, so at the guy from the future had to do the thing in the past, or his timeline would not even exist. So it's like, oh, well, when did he ever go back in the first place? Because if he didn't go back, the timeline wouldn't exist. But if the timeline wouldn't exist, he wouldn't exist. Like it's very paradoxically mind blowing.
Now you really have me curious. You really have me curious. I'm this might be getting bumped up towards the top of that playlist, to be
But
completely honest.
It, like I said, I would not call it the best movie I've ever seen, but it's a good movie. The story's done really well, and it's not my quintessential idea of time travel, which we'll get to way later down the list, but it's a pretty good one.
Okay. No, fair enough. And it's and I like Ethan Hawke too. So
Yeah.
that's one I'm definitely gonna check out. So for my number 5, I went with the third movie of a trilogy, which could narrow it down because I can think of another movie where was also the third movie of the trilogy that involved time travel. But in this particular instance, it is the first of the trilogy that I actually saw. I went with 1992's Army of Darkness.
Okay.
The third movie in the Evil Dead trilogy, in which Bruce Campbell's character Ashley Williams gets transported back to medieval times, and has to fight the Deadites while befriending King Arthur's court. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
You know, I'm such a cinephile, but I'm not the biggest viewer of things kind of that would be considered in the horror genre. And it's not, I just haven't. It's not even like I'm against it. I just haven't. So that's I've always wanted to throw any of the Ash and the Evil Dead movies in there just because of how huge they are in pop culture.
I can tell you right now, Army of Darkness kind of stands on its own. The first two movies take place in the present day, or at least what was present day at the time, back in the 80s. In the cabin in the woods scenario, and then at the end of the second movie, he's transported back in time. The third movie definitely plays out more comedic, than horror. And there is kind of a quick previously on Evil Dead in the beginning of Army of Darkness. So, I mean, like I said, Army of Darkness was the first one I saw of the three. I went back and revisited Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2 after seeing Army of Darkness. And I still enjoyed Army of Darkness, not having seen or even known about Evil Dead 1 or Evil Dead 2.
Oh, that's good to know.
I think Army of Darkness is one you could probably go back and watch and enjoy, especially if you're a fan of Bruce Campbell, because again, it is considered horror, but it's very comedic.
Gotcha.
In that sense.
No, that hearing you say all this makes me want to go back and watch that.
I mean,
even if I don't watch the first two, I think I'm going to.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely. Don't get me wrong. The first movie is absolutely horror.
Yeah.
The second movie is horror with a little bit of comedic element into it. Army of Darkness is, to me, it's a comedy.
Gotcha.
Because it's so ridiculous. It's campy, but I love it. It's such a great movie.
Yep.
That I had to include it in my top 5.
That's awesome.
So, let's move on to number 4. What do you got?
Okay, so I mentioned this love of time travel came about when I was a child, and when I was about 9 or 10 years old, back in the year 1995, my child self beheld the treasure that was A Kid in King Arthur's Court.
Great choice. Great choice. I'm a huge fan of Arthurian tales. This is a good one.
Yeah, without really watching it, and especially with a small kid's brain, it's like, oh cool, a baseball movie, and then you watch it, it's like, oh, time travel and knights and King Arthur and all this stuff. But yeah, it's out of my list. It's definitely the least sciencey movie on my list.
Absolutely. I mean, it's almost like if Henry Rowan Gardner went back in time. It's the same. It's It's Thomasia Nichols or Nicholas. So I mean, it's the same kid from. Oh my God, what is the name of that movie? Where he plays Henry Rowan Gardner. Rookie of the Year.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like it's a time travel version of Rookie of the Year.
Basically, yes. And I mean, at one point he's looking for shoes, I think, and a crack in the ground opens up and swallows him to the medieval times, and he has to, save the princess and all this fun stuff. And as a kid, I loved it. And I now have my own children, and that's a few years ago. My older kids, we watched that together, and it was just a lot of fun reliving that with them.
Yeah, and what's even better about that movie too is that something that a lot of people don't realize, especially if they haven't seen that movie in a long time. This is also a very early Kate Winslet and Daniel Craig. They are both in that movie.
Yep, I do remember seeing both of them, especially Daniel Craig, going, "Whoa, James Bond!"
Yeah, well, and Kate Winslet is the princess,
right?
Yeah. So I love going back and revisiting old movies like that and seeing people that I'm like, whoa, I had no idea they were in this movie.
Yep.
But no, that's a good choice. I like that one.
Talking about how hard it was to narrow down. There's so many I could have replaced it with, but just the way that my love of time travel came from when I was a kid, I had to throw it in there.
Yeah, that was a good choice. That was a really good choice. My number 4 is a time travel movie, but not in the sense of time travel as we've explored so far, as in like a physical person either traveling back in time or forward in time. My number 4, I actually went with a movie from 2000 called Frequency.
Ooh, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, Jim Caviezel and Dennis Quaid. And this is more about talking through time, rather than traveling through time. For anybody who's not familiar with the movie, it's basically about a father and son who the son discovers the father's CB radio. And I think if I remember, it's been a number of years since I've seen it, but something happens with the radio through like the aurora borealis that's in the night sky. He is actually able to talk to his father 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Because his father died 30 years ago. So he's actually able to speak to his father relatively close to the date that his father dies. And it's one of those situations of like, can we change the past? And this is one of those movies where that definitely comes into play, because it's all about, okay, can I save my father through having a conversation with him 30 years ago?
Yep.
I think it's a super well done movie. And it's one that, again, it's not time travel in the traditional sense, as in it's not a physical person. It's conversations through time. It's almost sort of like the Lake House,
right?
Where they put letters in a mailbox that suddenly went back and forth in time. That is not anywhere in my list, by the way. But I had to put Frequency in there because it's one of those movies that, even though I haven't seen it in a number of years, it still sticks out in my mind as a movie that I just loved when I watched it.
Yep, that was actually one of my honorable mentions on my list.
Oh, nice. All right, so there we go. We both have a similar love for it.
A few years back, CBS made a series about it, and I loved it, and then it got canceled way too early.
I didn't watch the series only because I loved the movie so much that I didn't want to taint that, because I knew if I dove into a series and the series wasn't good, I was really it could have affected my love for the movie.
Yeah, the only thing similar was the whole radio premise. That characters were different, everything was different. It was I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, and it was canceled too short.
I'm kind of glad I didn't dive into it now then.
Yeah, because it's very disappointing to learn a show you're into ends without an ending.
Yeah, Firefly.
Exactly.
That brings us into our top 3. What have you got for your number 3?
Okay, so as a kid, I was a really big reader, and back in 2002, the Guy Ritchie movie, edit that. The Guy Pearce movie. Back in 2002, the Guy Pearce movie, The Time Machine, came out, and it's not the it's not the most award-winning cinematic feature film you will ever view, but I really liked how they tackled time travel and how it was similar to the H.G. Wells book, the Time Machine. So earlier, your question was, do I think time travel could ever be possible? I think this movie slash book, but we're going with movies here, does it in a way that is kind of realistic, if it was ever going to happen. So the guy creates his machine, and unlike, a TARDIS or a DeLorean, it can't just go when and wherever you program it to go.
Mm-hmm.
It only can, the people and objects in it fast forward through time, and then it can stop. So let's say he goes a week in the future, he just sped up time around him and appears in the future. Now he can't go back because time only moves forward. So all he did was alter how time moves around it. So, and it can only go in the direction that it's already going.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the premise of this movie. And at one point he gets in a fight with someone and he's knocked out and he bumps the lever and he wakes up and it's, thousands and thousands and thousands of years in the future. But it's so far in the future that it's kind of like humanity and civilization has regressed. So so he's got to deal with all that. And he also has to deal with, you learn about the group of bad guys in this futuristic time period, and at some point he's got to sacrifice the time machine itself to stop the bad guys. And
Oh, of course.
I know.
That's what usually happens in those kinds of movies.
Right. But as for time travel movies, I really like that one, and I like the way they explain time only moves forward. So it's kind of realistic in a non-realistic way to make a machine that just fast forwards it. It can never go back. So if you fast forward to the future, no one's gonna, like, let's say a week, no one's gonna see you for a week. And that's just, I don't know. I liked how they managed it in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, and there's another movie, and I don't want to mention it in case it does come up in either of our top fives or honorable mentions. But there is another movie from the past couple years that also explores time travel in that sense, in that time only does move forward. So if you are away for too long, there's no way to get that time back. I do have to ask, though, because it's a good choice, the Time Machine from 2002, but have you ever seen the original from 1960?
I have seen it, and I've seeing this one when I was, I think, a sophomore in high school. It was just more, and it was brand new, and it looked cool for the time,
Mm-hmm.
And looking back now, it's kind of funny, but I think this one just had more of an impact on me. And it's kind of funny. This was around the time my family got our first DVD player as opposed to VHSs. And it was one of my first DVDs I owned. And I think that also probably impacted how much I watched it and enjoyed it. And yeah, I do enjoy the original. This one just stands out more to me in my nostalgic memories.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fair enough. I mean, it was more relevant to you at the time. So, yep. I mean, and when you see a remake like that from 2002 and then go back and watch the 1960 version, the 1960 version definitely does not hold up.
Right.
Story-wise, though, I think it's a little stronger than the 2002 version, but I can see modern cinema-wise why you would be attracted more to the 2002 version rather than 1960.
Yep.
Cool. No, that's a good choice. I mean, in H.G. Wells, I can definitely see where you're coming from, as if time travel is possible, this is how it would work.
Yeah.
In that you can only move forward and not backwards. So, my number 3, I went with something that's a little darker.
Yeah.
When it comes to time travel, but could only come from the mind of Terry Gilliam. And that is 1995's 12 Monkeys.
Okay.
With Bruce Willis, Brad Pitt, and Madeline Stowe. I don't know if you have seen 12 Monkeys before.
I have, and it's in my honorable mentions list.
Okay. I'm sorry. I keep taking some of your honorable mentions.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
But I mean, it's a very dark time travel. And and kind of a mystery at the same time. Well, not kind of a mystery, it's definitely a mystery at the same time, because you're meant to believe, is this guy crazy, or is he really from the future, as he claims to be? And again, that's one of the reasons why I say this is a story that could probably only come from the mind of Terry Gilliam, because that's just the way his mind works. And this is a movie that I usually tend to try and watch at least once a year, just because I love the movie. I just think it's a great movie.
That's a good pick. I know this is another one, just like Frequency. Did you ever get into the Sci-Fi Channel series 12 Monkeys?
I did not. No.
To me, unlike the Frequency one, the movie is best hands down. With 12 Monkeys, I liked the series better. And I love the movie, and I love that movie.
Yeah.
It was done really well, and I got really invested in it. And even to the point where when the finale aired, it was one of those shows where we binged all of it, and then I had to watch the final season live, because that's about the time frame that I got into it. When the finale aired on TV, I watched it, and then I instantly tweeted on Twitter, Aaron Stanford, who plays James Cole in this series, like, holy crap, that ending was amazing. Thank you for doing that. And he responded to me, and it was like the highlight of that year for me. He's like, thanks. That's all he said. Thanks. And I was just so pumped.
So before I take a dive into that series, you said it was on Sci-Fi, right?
Sci-Fi Channel, yeah.
Okay, so that kind of answers one of my questions, and the question was going to be, did it actually get an ending?
It did.
Sci-Fi is actually really good about that. They wrap their stories up. They don't, very rarely do they ever take a show and just cancel it outright.
Yep.
I mean, Warehouse 13, Eureka, which is another show that I absolutely adored.
Yeah.
These are shows that all that got their endings. So when you said Sci-Fi, I was like, okay, I don't know if I have to ask this. I'm pretty confident that the show got an ending.
And I'm sorry I keep bringing up series and we're talking about movie.
Don't be sorry about that at all. I mean, one of the main objectives of this podcast is to explore new content, not just for me to see, but for listeners to see.
Okay, cool.
So it's fine if you bring up a series, especially if it's related to that. But I might have to check out 12 Monkeys now.
It's awesome.
The series. Do you know how many seasons it ran?
I think 5. It's either 4 or 5.
That's a lengthy enough show to kind of dive into. So that's good enough for me. I'm going to have to add it to the list. All right. We are into our top 2. Where do you fall for your number 2?
Okay, this one gets a place in my list just because of how much I love the movie. I love it so much, and many people probably have that same sentiment, but I don't like how time travel was handled in it.
Okay.
But for me, it's Avengers: Endgame.
In my honorable mentions.
Yep.
I'm able to put aside how time travel works in that movie. In particularly, there's one line that really makes me laugh every time, and it's so you're telling me Back to the Future was all bullshit?
Yeah. Yes.
Line cracks me up every time I hear it, especially considering it's coming from Paul Rudd.
Yes.
But time travel aside, that is an amazing movie, just because it gave me everything I always wanted as a comic book fan.
Yes.
Including things I didn't think I want, and I didn't think I wanted until I saw it. If you haven't seen Avengers: Endgame at this point, I feel sorry for you, and I don't mind spoiling things.
Oh yeah. So good.
But Cap picking up Mjolnir,
oh my gosh,
I almost lost my voice cheering at that.
Yep. I live in the Kansas City area, and I was at a Thursday night opening night situation. And
I was at a Thursday night opening as well.
People were losing their minds at just about every iconic scene like that. And I love that. That's my favorite part of the movie going experience.
Avengers: Endgame. I've been asked the question before. I know we're getting off the topic of time travel with this, but it's Avengers. You kind of have to. I've been asked before, like, what has been my favorite theater experience? And hands down, it's Avengers: Endgame. It's the one theater experience that if I could go back and relive it, I would.
Same here.
I still, to this day, every once in a while, go on YouTube and watch those audience reaction videos to that. And I remember, like, so I have a tradition of with every Marvel MCU movie that comes out, I go see it on opening weekend, and then a week or two later, my mom's a big fan of the MCU movies, so I take her to go see it. And when Avengers Endgame was coming out, I was like, you know what? Like, you've never been to an opening night. We got to change that. If there's any movie for you to go see on an opening night, it's going to be Endgame. We're going to get tickets to opening night. And I remember driving to the theaters and telling my mom, I was like, you are probably going to see a side of me in this theater you have never seen before. I was like, do not judge me. I will not be able to help it. And I was one of those people in the theater cheering and sobbing and like happy tears. But strangely enough, so was my mom.
Yeah.
So she just couldn't help but get into it, especially when she saw me doing it.
Yeah.
But that movie gave me everything I wanted and more, in that, like, I still cry at certain parts of that movie, both sad
same here.
and happy.
Yep.
I mean, Avengers Assemble are still two words that give me chills. I'm getting chills right now just thinking about that scene.
Or the whole portal's open and on your left.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Again, we'll dive deeper into Avengers in a future episode of Wilhelm. But I was kind of I get what you're saying about the time travel aspect of it, because it does act kind of weirdly and timey-wimey, to quote Doctor Who.
Right.
But I was kind of able to let it go, only because, especially even more recently, because of things that we got from Loki.
Yep. And they kind of, the mindset of, you can't affect this timeline, but you can't affect things. It just creates a new timeline, and this current timeline still exists. So, kind of like you just said, especially knowing that we just, spoiler alert for these shows, we just cracked wide open the multiverse.
Yes.
Going with that, I can totally get behind that. It's just the pop culture things from my list and my past have imprinted as just the blueprint of time travel. So I was able to get past it. I just prefer other mapped out versions of time travel.
Yeah, I mean, totally get it. But I mean, like, again, like when I went into Avengers, being judgmental over their time travel aspect, I wasn't.
Same here. Sitting there in the theater, it was too much of a wonderful experience to even let any of that go through my mind.
Yeah, I wasn't sitting in the theater going, "Oh, this is bull roar." That's not how time travel works. This movie's ruined. Like, I didn't care. I was all about the time heist, man.
Oh yeah, and for as long of a movie as it was, I think I went to the theater to see it 4 different times.
Oh, I know I did. I think, I had to have seen it in theaters at least 3 times. At least 3 times. It's probably more.
As I mentioned earlier, I'm a high school teacher, and at my school, I sponsor a pop culture club. And once a week for about an hour, kids just come to my classroom and I let them pick. And sometimes they pick things like anime, and sometimes they pick things like Star Wars and Marvel movies and DC movies and cartoons, like whatever. But when Endgame came out, and when it was instantly available to stream or own on DVD or Blu-ray, the kids, like, that is what they wanted to watch. And it's funny because I forget, I'm an adult with a job. I can go to the movies whenever I want. Sometimes these kids don't get to just do that because they want to. And there were so many kids that hadn't got to see it yet. So I was extremely excited. We only had about an hour together, so we had to do it in about 3.5 sessions. But it was so cool to experience it again with some of these kids that hadn't got to see it. And it was awesome.
And how often did you do this? Was this once a week? Once
a week. Yeah, once a week we would do that.
That would have killed me to have to wait 4 weeks to finish that movie.
Yes.
Or 3 weeks to finish that. Like, that would have killed me.
Yeah, some of the kids were like, when the bell would ring to move on to the next class or whatever. And
yeah, I wouldn't have been able to take it. I would have been like, nope, I'm skipping my next class. We got to finish this now.
Yep.
So, but you know what? Good on you for doing that for your kids. That's awesome. So, my number 2, and I'm really hoping I'm not stealing your number 1 at this point. I don't know. Oh no, I have a feeling I already know what your number 1 is, and I know I'm not stealing it, so we're good. My number 2, is a movie that involves time travel, but it doesn't really explain it that much. It's pretty much, hey, I'm from the future, now die. That's T2 Judgment Day.
Yes. That is in my honorable mention.
Yes. I know some people probably would put Terminator in there over T2. But I think for the same reason that you found a love for the Time Machine from 2002 over the original 1960, Terminator 2 came out at a time where I was literally just getting into movies. Terminator, and I think I had seen T2 actually before I saw Terminator. I went back and rewatched Terminator knowing that T2 was a sequel. So T2 stands out in my head as having more of an impact than the original Terminator did. I still love Terminator. T2 hands down for me is better.
Same here. It was the same for me. I saw T2 before I saw the first one.
T2 actually holds, not only did I see T2 before I saw Terminator, when I was getting into collecting music, at the time for me, this shows my age, it was cassettes. The T2 cassette single was the first cassette I ever bought. And it was You Could Be Mine by Guns N' Roses on one side, nice, and Civil War by Guns N' Roses on the other.
That's awesome.
Yes, cassette singles were a thing, ladies and gentlemen.
I remember those.
So I had to put Terminator 2. I mean, the entire Terminator franchise is all about time travel.
Oh yeah.
Or time travel plays a very important element in it, rather. Again, it's not really explained, as in, like, we're just going to send this killing machine to the past, kill this person, they no longer exist in the future, and the future dies.
Right.
It's a simple explanation of time travel, and it's the same explanation that happens in every film.
Yeah.
So it's not really hard to get your head around. But still, when it comes to time travel movies, T2's up there. I had to be in my top 5, and it's my number 2.
I think I'd almost rather a movie not explain it at all than try to come up with something that just doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, and I like it's another movie that's in my honorable mentions, and I can knock it out now. I don't know if it's in yours, but another movie that it makes me think of as far as like time travel is not explained. We don't know how it works. We just know it works. You get in a hot tub and you push a button.
Yep.
You get in a hot tub and you push a button and hope Chevy Chase can fix it. Like, Hot Tub Time Machine is so simple and ridiculous, but it works.
Exactly.
It's that simple explanation. We're going to go in the past. We're going to fight some people and we're going to change the future.
Yep.
But that brings us to our number 1s. I already know what yours is.
I
already know what yours is. I don't even have to guess it. But for the listeners at home, what have you brought for number 1?
For the listeners at home, number 1 for me is Back to the Future.
It's a no-brainer.
Yes. I almost felt you told me beforehand that you were going to leave it off because you're dedicating a whole episode to it. So I thought about doing that because the list is so huge that I could have thrown stuff in, but I couldn't. On my own podcast, people know this. This is my favorite movie trilogy of all time. I watch it. Yeah, I watch it once a year. My wife is probably so tired of it. My kids are getting old enough to it's more than just background now. If I watch it, it's kind of like, oh, I'm kind of into this too. And I know we have to limit to, the Back to the Future. So I'll say Back to the Future, but a secret in parentheses subtext is it's the whole trilogy for me. It's the whole trilogy. Yeah.
And I think actually, if I remember correctly, I think you're actually going to be my guest when we talk about Back to the Future. When we dive deeper into that. I think We maybe if we didn't talk about that before, surprise.
Okay.
Because I know you're as big of a fan of that franchise as I am.
Yeah.
So, and I want to talk to, I want somebody on that episode with me that I know is as big of a fan of that, because I'm hoping that what will come of that is that I will teach you a couple things about Back to the Future that you didn't know, and you will teach me a couple things about Back to the Future that I didn't know. Now, I will tell you and forewarn you, that's hard to do with me.
Right. You, for my closest friends, I feel like I would be able to tell them all kinds of stuff they didn't know, but I probably can't with you.
That is very hard to do. I mean, I used to host a trivia night every Thursday at a restaurant, and every once in a while I would do a bonus round at the end of the night that I called the Stump the Trivia Guy, where I gave you a topic and you got to ask me any question about that topic. If I got the question wrong, you got bonus points. The regulars that came out to that absolutely hated every time I made the topic Back to the Future.
Right.
Because no one ever stumped me. Never.
I've mentioned I'm a teacher. So when it comes close to a test, I tell all my kids, every single class period, anyone that could stump me on Star Wars, Marvel, Disney, or Back to the Future, you get a bonus point for every question you stump me on the next test. And I don't give out many bonus points.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. I know right before the pandemic hit, I had some friends invite me to do a virtual trivia night, and it was Back to the Future theme, and they were like, "Yeah, you need to play this." I'm like, "Oh, are we going to be on a team?" They're like, "No, we're going to be on a team. You're going to play by yourself." I was like, "You mean you don't want me like to help you win?" They're like, "No, it's not fair. For like, we want a challenge." I was like, "All right, then I will play by myself." And the winner of this trivia night won a trip to wherever they wanted to go.
Nice.
I played and I won. I played by myself and I won. I won a trip to California. Unfortunately, the trip kind of died because the pandemic hit.
Right.
Everything kind of since expired, so I never got to use it. But the guy that hosted the trivia, when he reached out to me afterwards, he's like, "Dude, it wasn't even close." He's like, "You spanked." He's like, you were playing against teams of 4 and 5 people. He's like, "And it wasn't even close." He's like, "You spanked everybody."
That's awesome.
He's like, he's like, "At one point, I actually unmuted your Zoom to hear if I could hear clicking on the keyboard to see if you were looking up answers." He's like, "And I didn't hear a peep."
Yep.
I was like, "I wasn't cheating. Like, I'm not going to cheat. Like, that's my wheelhouse, man."
Right.
Like, I like the challenge.
Yep.
So,
oh yeah, it's one of the few properties that I've watched every behind the scenes, every documentary, every TV special, every animated series, read every comic book, played the Telltale video game.
Yep.
I love it so much. And we've talked before, I'm a huge lover of conventions and things like that. And I live in the Midwest. We have one really big one every year, not counting the pandemic year. And they've just never brought any of the cast of Back to the Future. So I'm up to almost 100 really cool celebrities that I've had a chance to meet, and none of them are Back to the Future related. So I've got to make that happen at some point.
We'll talk after recording at another point, but you know that I'm developing my own event.
Yes.
And I plan on having those guys there. So
oh yeah,
you'll get your opportunity.
Oh sweet.
I'll help you make it happen. I have to ask though, since you said you've seen every documentary and everything, have you seen the movies that make us on Netflix? There's Movies That Make Us 2 that just came out. I have not seen it yet. And Back to the Future is the first one.
Okay, well, I know what I'm doing when we're done here.
Yep. I watched it almost immediately after it released. The moment I saw, because it's Back to the Future, Pretty Woman, and I forget the other two, because it was the 4 episodes the first time, and it's 4 more episodes this time.
Okay. Yeah, I watched
the first one was Back to the Future.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I watched that first season right away. I to be quite honest, I haven't I haven't even like paid attention, so I didn't even know it was a thing. So I'm really glad we had this conversation.
Yeah, it's and it's well done. I mean, it's super well done as it always is. It's I'm looking at it now. It's Back to the Future, Pretty Woman, Jurassic Park, and Forrest Gump.
Oh, nice. All great movies.
Yep. Oh, all amazing movies.
And
So,
I love
so that'll be
going back to the movie I chose. I just love.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
No, you're totally fine.
Diving into Back to the Future, but you touched something close to me. So
Oh, exactly. Yeah, it's hard not to with these great movies.
yeah.
I just love the idea of the things you do in the past affect the future, and that it's just one linear, only one timeline. And they do such a good job at the most minute little details of making it impact the future. And like for some of the listeners, some of the real, like to people like you and me, these are like, oh duh, how do you not see that? But to casual viewers, like one example is in the first movie, Marty goes back in time, and as he leaves that farm area, he runs over a tree that is next to another tree. And the mall in the future was, or in his present, was called Twin Pines Mall. Well, he ran over a tree. He goes back to the future. The mall is called Lone Pine Mall. And that is just one little detail. There are so many things like that in this movie. And that just, how clever and thought out some of these things are, just in all three of them. Like I said, I'm cheating a little bit and I'm counting the whole trilogy as my number one movie.
No, that's totally fine, because I would probably do the same thing. That's another reason why I didn't include it.
Yeah.
Is because how would I not be able to include Back to the Future 2 and Back to the Future 3?
Yep.
Because they're all amazing movies.
I can't. If I'm going to carve time to watch Back to the Future, I don't mean just the first one. I'm going to watch all three of them.
The whole trilogy.
Yep. Because you just can't not.
Yeah.
And it's so good.
Those little nuances that you mentioned, like how he runs over the pine tree and it becomes Lone Pine Mall. One of the ones, it's one of the most recent ones that I just discovered this past year, actually. And that's one of the reasons I love that franchise too, is I know so much about that franchise, that anytime I get to learn something new, like it shocks me that I didn't already know it, but I'm so happy that I'm still discovering things about that franchise. And one of the little nuances that I just recently discovered is that in Back to the Future 2, the shirt that Doc is wearing actually has locomotives on it. It's like the yellow, it looks like a floral pattern, but it's not floral. It's like locomotives and cowboys. It's already a foreshadowing that he's going to go back to 1885. And then in 1885, when Marty and Doc are robbing the train, the bandana that Doc is wearing is the shirt.
Yep.
Just faded, really, really faded in color.
Yep.
And
that's awesome.
It's those little nuances like that I'm just like, this is why I love this movie.
Yep. For the longest time, mentioning, I think it was 2002 when my family got our first DVD player. We had my dad. So same way people did with, songs on the radio, my dad would do for us kids, movies on TV. He would pop in a VHS into the VCR and record it if it was going to be on. And he would do it where if you push pause during the commercials, it doesn't record the commercials. So we had one VHS tape where my dad recorded all three Back to the Future movies on the same tape and paused out all the commercials. So until the early 2000s, when it came out on a DVD box set, that's what I watched.
I'll even go even further, and this shows you my age even more. Really, really long ago, back in the day, probably like late 80s, early 90s. Every once in a while, because television stations were analog, they weren't digital yet. If you went really low on the FM meter, you could pick up the audio of certain television stations. And they did it so that people could listen to news broadcasts and things like that. But it wasn't just, they didn't just do it during news. It was 24/7. Like you could tune in and pick up, and it was ABC in my area. And I remember a Sunday night ABC playing Back to the Future as their movie night, I
Uh-huh.
took a cassette and recorded the audio of Back to the Future. It was Back to the Future 3, as a matter of fact. I recorded the entire audio, just the audio of Back to the Future 3.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, that's as big of a nerd as I am about this.
That would have been great for road trips to pop in the cassette player.
Right? Like, that's just
Pre-podcasting.
I've seen the movie so many times that I could just listen to the audio and picture the entire movie.
Same here.
So many little nuances, but we'll save them for the Back to the Future.
Yes,
stuff.
I know. I'll zip it right now.
No, that's a no-brainer of a number one. You had to do it. Which brings me to my number one, which, as I mentioned, is not Back to the Future, even though everybody knows it would be. I went with, this might surprise people, actually. I went with a different franchise, a franchise that has been around for a while, but only one of their movies that's a lie. Two of their movies have focused on time travel, because the other one's in my honorable mentions. I went with 1996's Star Trek First Contact.
Oh, nice.
In my opinion, arguably with the exception of Wrath of Khan, probably the best Star Trek movie in the franchise.
I can see that.
Of the television series, not the new Star Trek films, which I love as well. But of the Star Trek movies, including the cast of the Next Generation or original series, First Contact, man, to me it's a phenomenal movie.
It's so good. It made my honorable mentions list, actually.
Did it? Okay.
Yep.
All right. So then I know we're on the same page for this one. It's just, it's such a great movie. And again, it's one of those movies where it's never explained how they travel. It's kind of touched on how they travel. They create that kind of wormhole and goes back because, the Borg do it and they just follow in. And then, of course, there's the question of the Borg assimilated the Earth back in the past. There's no humans anymore because everybody's been assimilated, but how come nothing happened to them? Well, they were happened to be protected by the, by the temporal wake of that wormhole. Okay, I'll let it go.
Yeah.
But it's about the crew of the Enterprise going back in time to save humanity. And it's up to one team to do it, and they almost fail a number of times, but they end up pulling it off in the end. Would have been a much different movie if they ended up just staying there because they failed.
Right. This is our home now.
Yeah. But that's the other thing about the movie too, that I kind of if I had to nitpick anything, it's okay, you explained how you got to the past by following the Borg and their temporal wormhole. How did you get back?
Right.
You just happen to know how to recreate that wormhole. All right, I'll let it go. But no, First Contact is if I ever sit down to watch a Star Trek movie, First Contact is my first pick every time. It's
a good one.
So, not as long of an explanation as Back to the Future, but fair enough. But that was my number one. Which 5 great picks from you. I loved it. They were some good ones. I'm proud of mine as well. At the time we're recording this, I'm looking at the cast of First Contact. I'm really enjoying. By the time you're hearing this, it'll have already been, the week will have ended, but LeVar Burton as guest host on Jeopardy has been great so far.
I hope he becomes permanent. That would make me so happy.
He was predicted before he even started to be the most watched host.
Yep.
So hopefully that leads to something.
For some weird reason, the other hosts have been getting 2 weeks, but he only gets 1, and I don't know why. I
don't know why either. I think they did it kind of to appease people that were petitioning for it to happen.
Yeah.
Probably not realizing the ratings it was going to get just by doing it.
Yep.
It's probably one of those moments where they're maybe we should put some more thought into this.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I'm happy with it. And we'll see what happens, because LeVar Burton is fantastic.
He's awesome. So many nostalgic feelings when I see him, from Star Trek, Reading Rainbow, Captain Planet. He was one of the voices on Captain Planet.
Yes, he was.
There's so much of my childhood revolved around him.
It was funny too. I don't know if you've been watching his stint as host,
Uh-huh.
but the first day on Monday, one of the questions that he asked was about the television show Community,
Yep.
which he also guest starred on.
Yep.
So I
awesome.
thought that was fun that they did that.
Yep.
So our top 5 are knocked out, but that leads us to our honorable mentions, which we will try and get through a little faster than our top 5. But I've kind of already crossed off some of the ones that we mentioned already. Of the honor, and I apologize, I took quite a few of yours.
No, that's okay.
In my top 5, but of the ones that you have left, what's one of your honorable mentions?
Okay, of the ones I have left, one of them I just wrote down the Bill and Ted franchise.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is one of my honorable mentions as well.
Yeah, and the recent one actually pleasantly surprised me. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun too. And I had a feeling when they were introducing their daughters, it was kind of going to be a passing of the torch kind of thing, and that's almost exactly what it seemed to be.
Yep.
So, and I was fine with it.
Yeah.
Since I mentioned First Contact, I'll just go ahead and knock out this honorable mention now. Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home.
Yep, that is on my honorable mention list as well.
From 1984. I mean, how can you go wrong with the cast of the Enterprise going to the past and kidnapping a whale to bring it to the future?
It makes perfect sense.
Absolutely. There's no questioning logic in that one. It totally works out. So, and what's another?
I lumped it with, so I wrote Star Trek, and then in parentheses I put Voyage Home, First Contact, and the 2009 reboot movie. So I enjoyed the Chris Pine Star Trek movies that involved the Romulan guy going back in time and completely messing up the timeline, creating this new timeline.
That's right. There was time travel in that. In the what do they call it? It's
the original is called the Kelvin timeline.
The Kelvin timeline, yeah. But
or is this one called the Kelvin timeline? Maybe I'm mixing that up.
If you are, I am too. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, I forgot that there actually is time travel in that one as well.
Okay, the new ones are called the Kelvin timeline.
Okay, all right. I'm a fan of those movies.
Me too. I
don't care
them.
what anybody says. I'm a fan of those movies. They had me at Simon Pegg as Scotty.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole cast was amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Zachary Quinto as Spock was amazing. It's so good. Let's see. One of my other honorable mentions, I went with, now it's not an MCU movie, but it is, in my opinion, arguably one of the best Marvel movies I have ever seen. And that is X-Men Days of Future Past.
That is on my list as well, because you're right.
I keep stealing your honorable mentions.
No, that's okay. It shows we're on the same wavelength here.
It is, to me, it is the closest to a perfect Marvel movie I think anybody has come.
Yep.
It is. Well, okay. I take that back. It's not the closest to perfect of a Marvel movie. I think it's absolutely a near perfect X-Men movie.
Yes, I completely agree with that.
And it was definitely the peak of X-Men, because every movie after that just kept continuously going downhill.
Yeah, I do like when First Class came out, it was like, oh, cool. These guys are the young versions and they did a good job. Cool. And this movie did a great job of letting us see the old versions and the young versions in the same movie. And they did a great job with, it's another one of those, it's only time travel of one individual's mind. Otherwise, nothing's really going back and forth anywhere. There's no machine or whatever. And they executed it well, I thought. And I loved getting to see everyone on screen. And I love that it kind of retconned some of the stuff that a lot of people hated from some of the previous movies.
Yeah.
And it just shoved them forward. And with, things like Loki, spoiler alert, ripping open the multiverse, who knows if we'll see any of this stuff at all. I don't know. We'll see.
Hey, I mean, I know there's been rumors that Marvel has been reaching out to Hugh Jackman to reprise him as Logan. I'm a huge Hugh Jackman fan. Like everything he has done, from Greatest Showman to Wolverine to everything, Real Steel. I'm a huge Hugh Jackman fan. As great as it would be to see him reprise that role, the only way I would be excited is if it's in a Deadpool movie.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him come into the MCU as Logan again. And the only reason I say that is because Logan was so well done.
I agree.
It was a perfect swan song for that character.
Yep.
The only way I would want to see him come back is if it's with Deadpool, because that would be hysterical.
Who would not want to see that?
No, that's what I mean. Like, and I know with the multiverse, it's possible we could see him return as Logan again, if for a scene or two, and that's great. I don't think he needs to come back as Logan, as Wolverine for a longer basis than anything more than a cameo appearance. So, but I mean, like, yeah, X-Men: Days of Future Past. We talked about the physical person going into the future or time traveling. We talked about conversations through time. You're right. Days of Future Past is consciousness.
Yep.
It's neither conversation nor physical. It's consciousness traveling through time, which makes it different than anything we've talked about so far.
Yep. That was one of my favorites on my honorable mentions here. We've knocked out so many through our conversation. I only have one. No, I only have two left on my honorable mentions list.
I have four. I'm afraid to take any more of yours.
No, that's okay.
So give me another one of yours.
Okay, so this goes into the same field of nostalgia, kind of like the way a kid in King Arthur's Court did, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time.
I'm not with you on that one.
Yeah. And again, it is not a cinematic masterpiece, but it brings me back so many fond childhood memories, and that's why I made my honorable mentions.
I absolutely love the first two.
Oh, same.
Love the first two. And I'll give you a funny story about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. When TMNT 2 was coming out, the sequel to the more recent ones with Stephen Amell as Casey Jones. I had an opportunity to attend a red carpet screening of TMNT2 in which Stephen was at. Now, I had already dealt with Stephen in the past through cons and stuff like that. So it was kind of cool, the two of us seeing each other on this red carpet event because we already knew each other. And I did get to spend a couple minutes with him and interview him. And we talked about like the retro feel because they brought in Bebop and Rocksteady and everything as opposed to the first one.
Right.
And we were like, yeah, like it's very reminiscent of Back to the Future of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1 and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. And then something came up and I was like, I don't feel like I'm kind of hoping it doesn't go into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 though. And he's like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. I'm like, yeah, they made a third one. He's like, I know, we don't talk about that one. So even Steven was kind of like, yeah, I don't agree with you on that.
Right. I think I was a 7-year-old kid when it came out and I was into it.
Hey, fair enough, man. Like it's more power to you. I still go back and rewatch the first two.
Oh, definitely.
I quote them all the time, man. I still quote them. Little too Raph.
Yeah.
So, all right, let me do another one. I'm going to go nostalgic on mine. Back to 1986, and hopefully this isn't taking your last one.
Nope.
Okay, good. I'm going back to 1986 with Flight of the Navigator.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's another movie that I will still rewatch from time to time. The kid who's taken, I think it's 5 years into the future. 8 years into the future. It's 8 years. But yeah, he's taken from 1978 to 1986. And in which his parents are older, his little brother has grown up. They've all thought he's been missing for the past 8 years. And it turns out, nope, he was just picked up by a spacecraft that took him into the future against his will.
I haven't watched that since I was a small kid, and I forgot it was a time travel movie.
Yeah.
I might have to go watch that one too.
when you go back and you rewatch it, the voice of the ship, it should also be very familiar to you.
Okay.
Do you want me to tell you who it is, or do you want to wait until you watch it?
Oh, how about this? I'll wait.
Okay.
And then I'll message you.
Okay, fair enough. Listen to the voice of the ship, and you should definitely, as a young kid, you probably wouldn't realize who it was.
Uh-huh.
As an adult, you should absolutely pick up on who the voice of the ship is.
Okay, I've got to throw that one out there and watch it soon too. Now,
Yeah, it's worth a rewatch. It's again, it's one I'm still a fan of. What have you got for your last honorable mention?
Hey, so I'm a huge comic book guy, and obviously Avengers Endgame made it into my list.
Yes.
So the DC side of things, I feel like their animated movies, for the most part, knock it out of the park.
Agreed completely.
And because it's one of my favorite books, my comic book storylines, and they made that animated Justice League Flashpoint Paradox, I threw it in there as an honorable mention because I just thought they did a great job with that story. And which, if we were having this same recording in a year or two, I'm wondering if I would throw the Flash on my list. And I feel like they're going to hit some of the points from this movie, possibly. But the Flashpoint Paradox cartoon animated movie was super good, I thought, and it's more based on how much I loved the book of that, but I thought they did a decent job of making it into an animated movie. And when you get to see the final part, spoiler alert, when Barry is in the new timeline and he has that note from Thomas Wayne to Bruce, and Bruce cries and hugs the Flash because it said something about "I love you, son," or something real simple like that, and it's just very good. It's so good.
I agree with you. That Flashpoint Paradox it's such a great movie. I mean, it really, really is. And it's one I haven't seen in a while, but I'm a huge Flash fan. So I do remember watching that when it came out. Yeah, but I haven't seen it in a while. That's one I'm going to have to go back and rewatch.
It's good.
Yeah, that's one I'm definitely going to have to go back to.
And there's like 3 or 4 of those that deal with time. So, but I just chose one.
Well, that, I think, in my opinion, that's probably the best one.
Yeah.
Is Flashpoint is easily, to any comic book fan, it is the most notable time travel story in DC.
Yeah.
Because it changes so much.
A lot.
I mean, that even the television series has done Flashpoint.
Yep.
So,
and they did a pretty good job. That's why I'm so excited to see if it comes into play in the new upcoming Flash movie.
I'll be honest with you. I'm very hesitant when it comes to any DC EU movie now. I am excited for it only because of the return of Michael Keaton.
That's what I was going to say. They had me at Michael Keaton Batman.
Yes. That to me is and this is a whole nother topic for a whole nother episode. I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that it is setting up something the fans have been asking for a long time now.
Yes.
And that is a Batman Beyond movie with Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
Because he's the appropriate age and he's the best Batman for the job.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. It wouldn't just be, it would be fan service to the max. Like,
yeah.
And not only that, it would be good.
But not fan service for the sake of fan service. Like fan service because it's the right way to approach
exactly.
it.
Yeah. Fan service as a result of doing the right thing.
Yes, exactly. So I'm hopeful that's where they're going with it. We'll see. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm not disappointed.
Yep.
So I'll mention, I have 3 more and I'll knock them out real quick. The first one is Looper from 2012.
Oh, yep. That's a good one.
Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Amazing movie where they both play the same character, just in different points in their life. 1981's Time Bandits, also written by Terry Gilliam.
Yep.
An amazing movie. It might not hold up to anybody watching it for the first time now.
Yeah.
But to anybody who saw it when they were younger, it's fantastic.
That's another one I need to go back because I haven't watched it since I was a kid.
Yeah, it's just, God, it's another great movie. And the last one I have on my list, I wrote down Timeline with Paul Walker, but that's not an honorable mention because that movie was horrible. So that doesn't deserve the honorable mention. The last one I have is one that actually really surprised me, and I mentioned how I had a movie that was a third in a trilogy when I mentioned Army of Darkness, and it wasn't the only one. Men in Black 3 from 2012.
That was a good one too. A
I
fun
was
one.
Yeah, like I love the first Men in Black movie. Men in Black 2 was okay, it was fun. Men in Black 3, man, just kind of blew me away because of the way it tied everything full circle to the first movie again.
Yep.
It wasn't just time travel for the sake of putting time travel in a movie. It was time travel that affected these characters throughout the entire trilogy.
Yep.
Like it was the reason why J and K met. Is like it was already predestined to happen before the first movie even happened. Yeah. And I loved that. And it made me cry, man. Like it absolutely made me cry. And I just loved it so much that it had to get an honorable mention.
That's a good one. I'm sad that I forgot to throw that on mine because that is definitely a good one.
It's all right. I would have taken it if you did.
Yeah.
No, actually, that might have been one you would have taken for me at this point.
Right.
So, cool. Great conversation. Great movies. A lot of great movies that we talked about. We might have dwelled on one or two a little longer than some of the listeners might have liked, but I don't care. That's the point of this podcast, is to talk movies with people who love movies. So, yeah.
Yeah. Nah.
Yeah. Tell me, well, I know about it already, but for the listeners that are listening, let's talk a little bit about Infinite Taylorverse.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about the podcast, what's it about, where people can find it.
All right. So my best friend and I, Taylor Oxner, and I'm Billie Taylor. So that's where the Infinite Taylorverse comes into play. It's just a play on both of our names and our love of comic books. And
it's very clever.
Thank you. So basically every week we spend a week just compiling things that we read about online and see on social media, and it's rumors, it's actual news, it's spoilers, we just compile the nerd news basically and talk about it. And while the Disney Plus Marvel shows are going, we'll give our take on whatever episode just happened, or if a new movie just came out, we'll give our take on that movie. And it's our takes, so take it with a grain of salt. We're not sitting here saying our word is the Bible or something. It's just we give you what we thought about it and let you can take with that what you will. And we, as of us recording this episode of your podcast, we just recorded the 23rd episode of our podcast, and it was a fun one. We had a local mini convention, and Taylor and I actually had the chance to interview some really cool Marvel and DC and IDW and a few other comic creators. So we got to talk to some cool comic book people, and that one will be out, like I said, as of us recording it. That'll be our episode that airs this Friday. And the reason I say all that is once we hit our 25th episode, we're going to change our format a little bit. Every other episode will be kind of a news episode, and then every other episode, so there will be 2 news ones a month, 1 episode where we just deep dive on something, maybe a movie, maybe a book, maybe a comic, maybe a video game. So it'll go news, deep dive, news, and then the other one is we're going to try to interview somebody. And I'm not saying necessarily, celebrities or things like that, but maybe someone from our community who deals with cons, or a friend who's a school teacher like me, and how do they integrate comics or movies into their lessons, just and hey, I've been to so many cons, and I have a tiny, I'm not calling it anything, but maybe some tiny connections. So maybe occasionally, every blue moon, the stars will align, and I might get to interview someone that everyone's like, oh, cool, I want to hear that one.
Yeah.
So the format after episode 25 is going to go news, deep dive, news, interview. And that's going to start in a few weeks here, about 2 weeks. And yeah, we've just had such a blast doing it. It's kind of our excuse to hang out. We're both dads with jobs and wives and busy lives. And it's, hey, we're going to do this podcast, which means we get to hang out at least once a week. So It's been awesome doing that.
That's awesome. I mean, yeah, and you guys have done. You guys are diving into the live show stuff too. Like I know
Yep.
you mentioned the show that you just did. This is your second show.
Yep.
That you went live already in 23 episodes. You've done 2
Yeah.
live ones, which is great.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, your show is definitely, it's for people who love pop culture, especially if you're into the comic book stuff.
Yeah.
But you guys talk about everything, and that's one of the reasons why I enjoy listening, and it's one of the reasons I knew I wanted to have you on to just discuss this. And I like the idea of doing like the once a month interview thing too, because like you said, people in your community, it's a good way to get exposure for them. I mean, just off the top of my head, you can interview a comic book shop owner.
Yep.
And talk about like, hey, like how have trends changed with the introduction of certain series and things like that?
Yep.
Do you notice things changing as far as what's purchased and what's not? Just an idea and a thought.
It's funny you said that because we have a short list and someone who fits that description is on the short list.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, if anyone's interested, we're Infinite Taylorverse podcast, definitely on Apple, Spotify, I think Google, I think Amazon, but definitely Apple and Spotify. Our Instagram is at Infinite Taylorverse. Our Twitter is at Taylorverse Pod. Facebook is facebook.com/Infinite Taylorverse. And this is just a little shameless plug. I have a TikTok and my username on
please plug your TikTok because I love your TikTok.
my username on TikTok is at Mr. BCT3, so at MRBCT3. And it's just, they're silly. I've mentioned probably more times than I should at this point that I'm a teacher, and pre-pandemic, the kids all the time would be like, hey, Mr. Taylor, will you please be in this TikTok? And I was always like, oh no, I don't want to be in a TikTok. And then boom, pandemic hits, and I don't know what possessed me. I thought it would be kind of funny to make some TikTok videos, and my students would love it and think it's funny. It kind of blew up. I don't know.
You do some great stuff on your TikTok. I mean, you do some cool science experiments for kids to watch and stuff like that. And I think your TikTok actually has a pretty good following too.
So TikTok's broken down really weird. In terms of views, I have millions of views. It's crazy.
It's crazy, but it's great.
In terms of likes, I'm into the hundreds of thousands. And in terms of followers, I'm still in the thousands singular. So, I mean, it's definitely growing, and it's just, I'm blown away there's people on TikTok whose numbers far surpass this, but I'm blown away at what it has achieved. And I don't know, like you said, there's science stuff, there's teacher stuff, there's parenting stuff, there's straight up just goofy
dad
stuff.
Jokes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, but it's great. Like when I didn't even think about your TikTok, and then when you brought it up, I'm like, yeah, you absolutely have to plug your TikTok. Like there's no doubt in my mind.
But yeah, that's, if you are so behooved, it's funny.
It's a lot of fun, and I highly encourage everybody out there to follow you on TikTok. I was never a big TikTok person. Like I actually followed a lot of your TikTok from stuff that you posted on Facebook. That's where I would see a lot of it. I just recently installed TikTok on my phone. When I say recently, I mean as of the time we're recording this, like less than a week ago.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm just getting into TikTok. I don't plan on recording any videos. Maybe I will once I start going back to cons and stuff like that, and doing interviews again, because I'm getting ready to relaunch my Spotlight podcast. So I mean, if I can find a way to use TikTok to promote that, I will. But otherwise, like there's maybe 3 or 4 people I follow on TikTok, and who knows? If I dive into it, maybe I'll discover some more that I want to follow. But
I think there's a kind of a preconceived notion that it's goofy kids doing annoying, goofy stuff, which don't get me wrong, that is 100% on there.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
But that's not all it is. That's what made me get sucked into the rabbit hole.
There's I mean, I follow The Rock on TikTok. I follow Kevin Hart on TikTok. Especially when the two of them are together, because then they do like competing TikToks. Like they'll actually do their TikToks back to back so that you can actually see them recording the opposite person's TikToks, and it's hysterical. But there's another guy that makes really goofy songs that I follow. There's another girl on there, I forget her name, but she does I think it's called like Real Indian Dad. It's actually her husband, but he
Yeah.
does like, so you're familiar with her
Yes.
too.
Yes.
I follow her and I think those videos are hysterical.
Yeah. There's a couple cooking hacks. Like, I'm a teacher. There's some teacher hacks and teacher software that have, like, the cooking ones change the way I cook certain things. The teaching ones change the way I present certain things. And it's like, I've learned a lot of things from this app.
I don't know what his name is, but now that I think about it, I got to find him. I love his videos when they pop up on Facebook and on YouTube. He's the guy that takes like all those ridiculous life hack videos and
Yeah.
he redoes them, but like realistically, and
Yes.
he doesn't say a word. He just gestures with his hands. Like
That guy's
once he's
awesome.
done, I have to find him and follow him because he's hysterical. He's another hysterical one. Like I find those videos, I find those life hacks absolutely ridiculous.
Yes.
Like the one with the guy that gets his shirt caught in his car door, and rather
So he
than just
cuts it.
open the door, he cuts his shirt.
Yeah. Like, dude, your window was open.
Yeah, exactly. You're so stupid. It's so dumb. You're doing it purely just for likes. So, no, that's awesome. I highly encourage listeners to check out Infinite Taylorverse and follow you on TikTok as well. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Sorry, man. I just keep going down rabbit holes with you here.
No,
So many tangents.
Don't wait till we actually jump into the Back to the Future.
Oh my word. That's yeah.
We only have 3 movies to talk about, but there's so much to talk about in those 3 movies.
Yep.
Trust me, listeners, you with Billy and I talking Back to the Future, you will learn a lot about Back to the Future.
Yes.
There will be things you didn't even know about Back to the Future that you will hear us talk about.
This has nothing to do with anything, but the amount of times that I say frisbee far out is probably annoying to the people in my close life.
Yeah, I used to use this as heavy a lot, but I don't use it nearly as much anymore. But yeah, I don't know if there's anything from Back to the Future I use on the daily. I use Great Scott every once in a while, but that's just because it's fun.
Yes.
And I purposely throw that in. That's not like a natural reaction. That's just kind of like, ooh, I can use it here. Great Scott.
Yep.
As for this show, however, if you like what you hear on Wilhelm, be sure to leave a review on whatever podcasting platform you listen on. The reviews really, really help out, not only in letting me know what you think of the show, but the more reviews I get, the more people I get to reach with that. So be sure also to follow Wilhelm on social media, Facebook at facebook.com/the Wilhelm podcast, Instagram and Twitter at the Wilhelm pod on both of them. Lastly, if you want to be a guest or have an idea for a topic or theme you want to hear me cover, film franchise, debate, movie you want to hear me take a deep dive into, you can let me know by messaging me on any of the social media platforms, or you can email me directly at the Wilhelm podcast at gmail.com. I'm working on a feedback segment for the show that I'm hoping to institute sometime in the next couple weeks. I don't know what it's going to be yet because a lot of times these episodes are recorded in advance. So I don't know if maybe it'll be like a short segment I record like a day or 2 before I post the episode, so it's more current. If you have ideas for something you want to hear me do for feedback, let me know by messaging me or emailing me, whatever. I know the idea was thrown out there, especially with last week's episode of the Mafia movies, and I had mentioned I had never seen Scarface before. One of the ideas was maybe doing a segment where I actually watch the movie and then I give you my short review in that feedback segment. But who knows? Again, if you have ideas, let me know. But other than that, I'm so glad I brought you on for this one. This was so much fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a blast. I can talk time travel. Anything pop culture or nerdy, I could talk your ear off.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's going to be plenty of opportunities to do that on this podcast. Anytime you want me back on yours, I'm more than happy to come on. You will definitely be back on this one. I might even bring you and Taylor in together for an episode at some point.
Oh yeah, especially if you get into the comic booky stuff.
Yeah, if we get it, which I definitely have plans to get into like the DCEU and the MCU. I definitely want to take an episode and I want to talk about some comic book movies that are not Marvel or DC.
or good.
Yeah. So trust me, you've seen the list.
Yes.
The list is still over 200 topics strong at this point.
Yep.
There's a lot to come for Wilhelm. So I appreciate all the positive feedback that everybody has been giving. Everybody for listening and sticking with it. I love it as always. I thank everybody at the end of every episode. So get used to it because I'm going to keep doing it. But Billy, thank you again for coming on.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
This was a blast, and I'll definitely have you back on. That's it for this episode of Wilhelm. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Tell your friends about the show. I keep saying if everybody tells 2 people, and those 2 people give it a shot. If you like it, great. If you don't, it's fine. But the more people you tell, the more exposure and the more people get to hear it. So until then, though, until next time, we'll see you guys on down the road. Take care.